was just doing the Lord's bidding. Like if you take off that hockey mask, I'm sure he's a good, wholesome Christian man. I'm sure he's like,
Well, I wrote this song for the Christian youth. I want to teach kids the Christian truth.
So
nothing scary.
So speaking of this, so let's talk about what because we're recording this on the course September 13th, 2024. So Friday the 13th. Speaking of gore porn, let's talk about the original gore porn. Steve, what do you think? What do you think of Friday the 13th? Like now, let's not talk about it as a what it's done towards films. Like, what do you think of it now? What does it represent nowadays to you? Because I have some vague opinions on it, I guess.
Yeah, we've done the
special.
We've done a special. If you guys want to hear us talk about it, when we go head to head with Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah,
I was Jason, he was Freddy, and I lost. So that should kind of give you my opinion on how I feel about this. But I'll just say this: as the first film goes, 1980, right? So it's clearly almost damn near 40 years old now.
Right.
I feel like it was good for its time, but even the director was like, it was a ripoff of Halloween. So it started off as a ripoff of another movie. But it did well, man. I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing the hockey mask.
Right.
And when you see that hockey mask, you instantly think Jason.
I just think it's the ultimate Christian film, bro. I mean, I really do. I really think Friday the 13th is such a Christian, wholesome movie, man. I mean, especially in today's light, if you think about it, I mean, this is what they want. I mean, it's like, you want your teens to be abstinent. It's like, hell, they don't fucking kill them. You know what I mean? It's so true. It's so true, man, because I always just seen it as a metaphor for not having sex. Because all the time, anytime someone has sex on Friday the 13th, Jason shows up, dressed like the condom, and he's like,
dressed like the condom. Okay, I never thought of that.
I'm just saying, and that's the optics of it to me. I always thought. Not to mention too, I think Friday the 13th has become such a fashion line too, because I see so many people wearing Jason shirts now and Friday the 13th shirts. Not to mention little kids are dressed. Not only are little kids dressing up like Michael Myers, they're dressing up like Jason too. And they're dressing up like serial killers.
And dude, bro, the chibi thing. Well, too, bro. They're making it cute, going happy the Friday the 13th with a little cartoon Jason holding a machete that's bloody, but it's in a cartoon that's for kids, and it's maybe he's right. He was supposed to be a badass killing machine.
It's a faith-based film. That's what I feel like nowadays. Now that I look back on it now, I just feel like it's completely a faith. It's a faith-based film.
Friday the 13th franchise is a Christian.
It's up there with probably Passion of the Christ, I would say. With good, wholesome family values. I mean, if you want some family values, you throw your kids on Friday the 13th, you tell them sex is the devil and this is why.
This is what happened to you.
This is what happens when you're having sex. You turn your back, you get too comfortable, you don't pay attention, and you get stabbed. He has killed them in the act, that's what I'm saying,
film,
man.
So, and he comes out of nowhere
all the time. That's what he does. That's That's his MO.
Dies.
Because a lot of people always talk about how Nightmare on Elm Street is a metaphor for Freddy, his whole thing was taking revenge on the kids on the parents' kids. So it was almost like people always say that's like a boomer thing. It's a representation of the boomers destroying the next generation and this and that.
And then their children paying for their sins type of deal.
Right. Yes.
So.
But then, I've always just thought, like I said, I'm going to continue on. That Friday the 13th, bro, whenever I see that 13th, I think of the cross, bro. I think of the cross. I think of the crusaders down the cross and what it really meant to be. Abstinence first, man. Abstinence first. You don't want your kids having sex. It's fucking put the fear of God in them.
What happened to Jason? Jason died. Why? Because the planters were having sex.
They were having sex, man. They weren't paying attention to him. And not to mention, the original hero of the film was a good, wholesome American mom at first that was just trying to help her child. And then you
That's
had
true,
a good,
yeah.
wholesome kid to follow in
Good
his
wholesome.
mother's footsteps and do the rest of the bidding. So that is why, like I said, Friday the 13th is to me, when in all retrospect, of a good, wholesome Christian film for the whole entire family.
You got me again. You got me again. There is, I mean, he has literally a shrine to his mother, and you don't know. He's in there praying. He has a rosary, maybe. He's
Steve's
stacking
right.
up the bodies, dude.
Right.
Of the
How do
this
you
man
know he doesn't
is
have a
like,
dozen crosses underneath that jumpsuit?
I know, right? But have you seen him without his jumpsuit? You don't know that.
Right, you don't know.
Hey, guess what? He's risen from the dead, everyone.
And he's baptized every night when he goes back into that water. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? I know all the Christians out there are like, ah, right now. I know you are. I know you're feeling it right now. I know you are. Feel the Jason in you. It's true though, man.
That is, bro. We need the TV evangelicals at 3 a.m. with a hockey mask on.
I'm telling you. And for those of you who are like thumbing this down and saying we're stupid, think about it. Think about it from our perspective.
Go watch those films.
Go watch the movie. He is literally a sword for the Christian faith of abstinence. He really is. He is getting in there and killing those sinners for having premarital sex and not practicing abstinence.
The guy is literally looking every time he's killed like, I was just doing the Lord's.
I was just doing the Lord's bidding. Like if you take off that hockey mask, I'm sure he's a good, wholesome Christian man. I'm sure he's like,
Well, I wrote this song for the Christian youth. I want to teach kids the Christian truth. My beats are sick, my crew is big, and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
I honestly believe that. I believe that underneath that mask and that jumpsuit, you would see basically a pastor. That's what he probably does in his spare time. And you know what? I'm probably not that far off.
I'm for it. This man only kills people that go to his place where he was killed as a kid, by the way, to be like, practice safe sex, because he doesn't kill anybody else who doesn't. I mean, right?
Who said that wasn't a Christian camp?
I know. Camp Crystal Lake, and the Christian was too small for font to be read. Mm-hmm. It's there.
But for real, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you think we're making fun? I'm joking, but I'm being very, very serious.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna be like, you're not joking.
I'm not joking. I've always loved these movies, and of course, like me and Steve said, we'll remind you can listen to our old episodes of where we actually break these movies down. And I don't go into a rant. Like, I'm being dead serious though. I've always seen these movies as, especially older horror films. They talk about wokeness and stuff in movies now. It's like, this is woke, ladies and gentlemen. This is a woke film.
Dude, bro. Woke. You know what else is woke? The man was supposed to go to heaven, but they made a movie called Jason Goes to Hell because of Freddy.
Oh, you see that, man? See? It's almost like a guide. They're like, you see, this wholesome Christian went to hell, and how did he get out? Through the power of Jesus. Yeah. It's true, man.
He went to hell for your sins, and he got out by
Jason went to hell for your sins, ladies and gentlemen. Killing all those teens for having premarital sex. I'll keep saying it.
He's like,
I'm going to keep preaching it. He's confused. He's confused why the cops come after him.
Jason's just listening to Radiohead in his mind, going like, what am I doing here? Like, I shouldn't be here. That's all he wants to
Play
do.
that clip.
Yeah.
Let me creep and then win you.
Computer in his head. He's like, what do you want me to do?
I love it. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it's the truth.
It is.
Because this is real independent media. This isn't false media. We're telling you the truth, okay?
We're telling you what nobody wants to tell you here.
We're telling what no one wants to tell you here.
You
is
watch
that
them on this day.
You're gonna go away from any of this video. You're gonna go away saying, you know what? I'm gonna go tear my religious parents apart by saying, you know what? I can watch Friday the 13th and watch Passion of the Christ in the same goddamn night after VeggieTales.
You know what? I want you to buffer those two. Watch the first one, then watch an episode of VeggieTales in between each film, and you put the math together. You tell
right,
me.
and yeah,
you come
right,
back.
and you tell us who's preaching to the choir, huh? You tell us, right? And you're gonna sit there saying, "Wow, these guys are scaring me," because Friday the 13th is a great wholesome film.
I know you're gonna be like, he really wasn't the bad guy.
Telling you, Jason's not the bad guy, dude. Jason is not the bad guy, man. He is just the sword of the abstinence justice. That's what he is.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Sword of abstinence justice. I'll repeat that. Jason is the victim because he is not a serial killer. He is the sword of abstinence justice.
You know what? I think you guys also need to get the director's cut versions of these Blu-rays. Buy the Blu-rays. Get the director's cut and get real close to the TV. When you hear him slash a victim, you might even hear him go, "Justice!"
or he might even be singing his favorite psalm.
Our God is an awesome God.
I was a wandering sheep. Oh, happy the Friday 13th, everybody.
Happy Friday 13th, everybody.
Hope you love the Real Sharks podcast. Have a good one.